Hello everyone, welcome back to episode 397, and this is also like day 16 of the Iran war now. It's been going on for a while, over 2 weeks now. So we're going to be discussing more developments in there. We're getting NATO involved after, bashing the United Kingdom that we don't need their help, or anyone for that matter, but we're also going to be discussing the fact that Bitcoin is rising. This is a perfect setup for this week. This is exactly what I wanted to see. I wanted to see Sunday evening be a pump for crypto, and I was a bit skeptical about it, but ultimately the plan is playing out so far. We're starting it off really strong. Bitcoin at 72,400. I like it. I like it. So this just improves the odds for us to see something, approach maybe 80,000. We have new pivot levels. It's at 78,892. It's almost 79,000. The second most highest resistance. That's close enough to 80,000. I think they're playing it safe with these resistance levels because ultimately it could happen at any point this week. And that would ultimately approach that downtrend line. Now, I'm not going to shift this too hard. It was literally there. Okay. Because I do feel like we can hit 80,000 still. I am just hoping for that. I am a bit biased as well because I do want to exit this position, at least at break even. Now, is it normal for Bitcoin to be rising at this time? Absolutely not. Everything is crashing. Stocks are crashing. Gold is crashing. Oil is on the rise. But Bitcoin is also on the rise. That doesn't make sense. Are we finally waking up? Are we starting to realize, yeah, gold is overvalued. How much more trillions of dollars can you keep putting into gold and silver? And oil, I guess, since that seems to be the most traded thing at the moment. And then, ultimately we also realize how oversold Bitcoin and crypto is the money rotation starting to happen, the capital rotation. We're starting to finally see that. Maybe, hopefully. The signs so far do kind of indicate that. So we'll be going over that tonight. Pivot level right there on that Fibonacci line. Impressive. 70,800. So the first resistance we're going to encounter, it will result in a higher high after hitting this resistance twice, I guess, at 74,000. We have not been able to fully break out of that. We're going to attempt to do that tomorrow is what it seems like. I like the way it's looking. We can absolutely break above 74,000. That should take us to about 76,000. I see 75,800 on pivot resistance. We could round that to 76,000, give or take, because it's Bitcoin money. $200 in Bitcoin means nothing. It's like a cent in Cardano or whatever your favorite meme coin is. So yeah. And Supertrend is flattened out at 68,500. Great so far. Support level, I'm not entirely sure about this one. In case things do drop, we're looking at 67,750 to 68,500. Kind of this box range for a support, which I expect price to immediately correct from there if that is to happen. Hoping that that does not approach down here, but also hoping that we do get the right reaction if things do go according to plan, because I'm no genius. I don't know where the market price is going to go. All I can do is speculate. Which is it, Western man? Which way? You want to go up or you want to go down? If we go up, 80,000. If we go down, this. And you put the uptrend at risk, ultimately. I don't think we will break it. If anything, we'll just have a down week just to overall whatever approach this downtrend line. But the issue is that it's not going to be at 80,000 as I much desired. But ultimately, the market will do whatever it wants, and what am I but a pebble in this ecosystem of money? So, yeah, I can't do much. Is pebble a good analogy? I think a penny would make more sense. Yeah, there you go. Drop in the ocean. Drop of water in the ocean. Whatever. I'm insignificant, is what I'm trying to say. But uptrend is still in our favor. I do believe we can absolutely continue rising. Absolute worst case scenario is a drop of 8% on Bitcoin that can, well, after losing the support, of course, at around 68,000. That could take us to a drop to 63,000 as an ultimate bottom. I don't think we're going lower than 63,000 because why? And that just seems very unrealistic. But the rises, on the other hand, now that does spike my interest. And the fact that we have, you know, these two resistance levels right here, pivot level above 70,000, I do feel like we can continue higher for this week. So my view is still there to the upside. Why specifically this peak over here? That's happening on a Wednesday. Hey, Wednesday's my day off. I probably will be able to watch my good old pal Jerome speak live. What am I going to do about it? Absolutely nothing. But yeah, anyways, if you're not aware, my schedule got changed again at work. So I no longer have Fridays as my day off because what am I going to do on a Friday? Now I have it on Wednesdays because what am I going to do on a Wednesday? Okay, well at least this Wednesday will have something important. I don't know, I might have to like schedule any random appointment that I might have, I guess, like useless stuff like dentists or driver's exam, I don't know. Things like that, things that I have to do in life to advance. I think I might want to start getting a license and a car. I'm starting to cave a little bit, you know, the pressure, it's landing on me. I'm really not a fan of cars or vehicles or driving for that matter. Yeah, I do have my license, but it's like not the full license that we have here. In Ontario, we have like the G1, which is the beginner one, which is just a written test. The G2 license, which is the normal test. You have to drive and park and all that stuff. And then the G is the full license where you can drive anywhere, anytime, on your own. And, I mean, G2 can also let you drive on your own, but on the highways is the main thing. And that's like a highway exam. They test you on the freeway. And I failed that exam one time because I didn't reach 100 kilometers an hour and I was waiting for a car to pass. I didn't want to overtake him because I was just accelerating. Was at 80 kilometers an hour or something like that. And then I messed up on some right turn and some left turn. I guess I slowed down too much on a green light making a right turn. And then I entered an intersection for a left turn on a yellow light, which apparently that's a big no-no. And I got dinged for all that. Rest of my driving was impeccable because I'm actually a really good driver. I just don't like to drive. Like, if I have the option to not drive, I will not take it. But anyways, why am I talking about this? That's stuff that I'm planning on doing on my Wednesdays, days off now. Maybe booking exams again, stuff like that. Or maybe just applying other places. I do have to catch up on a lot of reading as well, and studying. My life is a mess, but we'll get there little by little. I'll be fine. Okay, back to the crypto stuff. Yeah, Bitcoin 72,600, looking great. I like it. I like it a lot. Let's move on to Ethereum. 2,181. What is our new pivot levels looking like? Once again, we've approached this level, 2,200. We hit it once over here on March 4. We hit it just last week, March 13, and today we are approaching that level once again. Ethereum breakout looks great. How high can we go? If Bitcoin does hit 80,000, we're looking at minimum 2,500 Ethereum. And that's a pretty good rise. Ethereum is showing some strength here at last. Support level right there on the $2,000 mark with the super trend, with the psychological level. It's perfect. Ethereum's buildup is great. I like what I'm seeing here. First resistance that we're going to encounter after immediately breaking out of this, which we do have strength to do so, by the way. Look at the RSI. Not overbought yet. Hey, that's not what I highlighted. So we absolutely can hit that. And that should take us to 2,280 as a first resistance before, you know, we could rest a little bit before approaching here. Obviously, that does not look great. But next stop is 2,380. What's with these? Bitcoin is like 75,800, 78,800, right? Was that the resistance levels? It's like the 800s we're seeing here. 834, 892. And then with Ethereum, it's also 2,280, 3,380. What's up with that? Anyway, hey, what about like Ultra Bull case after this? Oh, that's just a Fibonacci resistance on Bitcoin at 84,000. Super best case scenario if we do somehow manage to break out of this week-long downtrend, which I find very difficult to do. I don't think we're going to actually do that. We'll be lucky if we do hit 80,000. That's like best case scenario in my opinion here, and I feel like the odds are in our favor for it. It's not that far of a rise. 10% from where we are right now. Absolutely doable in just a few days. Okay, I'll stop bull glazing on Bitcoin. So yeah, Ethereum is also looking great. Let's not forget that. 2,500 I feel like is a valuable target, valid target for Bitcoin's ultra bull case, right? Matter of fact, I'm going to mark it because I think it's very important. Please let me edit this to 500. Let's go. Okay, looks good. Moving on. Solana, finally above 90. This is the breakout that I'm talking about. 4% up today. Great. At $91.93, this is where we deserve to be. Finally. Now, okay, I did want Solana to be above 100. If we do go above 100, it's looking like it's going to be 108. I think that's a little too bullish for Solana's case now. The fact that it hasn't risen as well as the other ones, like it's been underperforming compared to Bitcoin or Ethereum, Solana, right? So the fact that we're actually, you know, now starting to move, I don't think we got enough like room left to actually make a big spike. Unless, I don't know, we can get surprised with Solana. We might just see a candle that does that someday, which it's possible. 17% on Solana is not rare. But, I mean, these days it does seem like it is. I'm just going to play it safe and think 100 is the limit for Solana. Bitcoin 80,000 equivalent for Solana is at 100 right over here. By the way, Litecoin and Monero just seem to be gone. No delisting notice. No please. No warning. Just delisted. Okay. Yeah, not sure what the deal is there, but all right. First resistance for Solana would be at 96.50 and then 100 ultimately, which that is multiple resistances there. Psychologically, 100 is there, pivot resistance level, and a downtrend line, all converging there, all converging on the 18th of March. That is just way too perfect. Like, I'm sure everybody else is seeing what I'm seeing. There's no way I'm the only one that's seeing this, right? We're obviously going to see some resistance there. And it all happens on FOMC day. We could even like just flat out lateralize, have a big spike upward. I'm hoping I could like break even on my Bitcoin position at that kind of a move and then kind of decay into the rest of the week, which would further reinforce whatever downtrend line we do have over here. Wouldn't that make sense? Now the downtrend line would ultimately get weaker, right? The more we poke at it. And I think we have found a bottom at 84 Solana. Never say never, but come on, that's pretty low. Or 67 was our bottom. Never mind, I'm looking at the wrong number. But that's the kind of vision that I have for it, right? So that's what I see. I'm not saying that this exactly is going to play out. I just think it's going to be bullish, bullish, bullish all 3 days in a row up until Wednesday. I don't know why we will be rising in anticipation for the FOMC meeting. But hey, I mean, things are playing out differently this time, right? We're in the middle of a war and we've only been rising ever since. Because we've been pricing it all in for too long. We were very oversold. What is this? Why did I draw this? Oh, look at that. Like how correct I was on March 4. I don't remember drawing this. I guess, you know, that was the resistance. No, overbought territory for Solana, which means that a reversal was going to happen, and ultimately we did have one. But the uptrend line looks really good following the... Sorry, the super trend looks really good following the uptrend line. Excellent. First, okay, and bear case for Solana, I guess. 90, of course, I'm hoping we can stay above that as long as Bitcoin stays above 70,000. I've given you that equivalent before. And if we lose that, you're looking at $84. 85, 84. 83 maybe. I think super trend should continue rising. So I'll leave you with 84. Bear case for Solana. Uptrend nonetheless. Wow, BitTensorgist not stopping its rise. 292. We approached 300. That easy. Simple. What, were you scared? Yep. That's impressive, honestly. This kind of rise. I knew that 200 was like such a important level, but like the breakout of it is just so significant. 40% type rise we're talking about. We're ultimately at 274 right now. We hit 292 as a resistance. 293 is where Fibonacci line was. Excellent. 300 is psychologically just there as well, just so that you don't forget. And look how spread out these pivot levels are as well. First support at 210, if you average out these two, the super trend line and support level itself. Ultra bear cases are our bottom at 140, where we hit 142. I don't think that's going to happen, but never say never. And resistance case. If we do continue the breakout above 300, we're hitting 323. I think we could relax at 363. I don't think we're hitting any of these levels anytime soon. But, I mean, if the rise is to continue another, what is this, 100%? 60%? Then we would approach a significant downtrend line, and I can guarantee you Bitenser will not rise above 450 this week. Okay, that's a bit of a stretch, though. I think that 300 is an important resistance, especially the fact that we have been overbought for a few days now. How long will this AI narrative last for? Up until we get talks about an AI bubble again, which, Michael Burry, please delete your Twitter account. Thank you. You know who else I want to delete their Twitter account? That 270 IQ guy, Young Hoon Kim. My brother in Christ. Why are you bull posting again? You've been wrong in the past. You should retire from it. I'm not saying that, you know, you're wrong once, you're always going to be wrong, but relax. I mean, it's too much. Well, if we have time later, we'll go over his bull posts, but he said that, yeah, I'm going to stop posting about XRP. I'm like, please, finally, thank you. You've woken up. And he's only going to post about Christ. I haven't seen any Christian posts, so what's going on there? But I don't blame you. I've also been lacking on my upload schedule. I'm trying, okay? Like, I have to reread everything that I read. It's too much. But I'll get there eventually. It's a lifelong project, so I've got a long time to try. I'm still early, okay? Hyperliquid. It looks like we're losing. We're not losing. We're at 37. We're lateralizing at the top. We're suffering from success. And 40 would be our biggest resistance here. Breaking out of 40 would take us to 44 immediately. Yes, I am expecting this to happen, especially if Bitcoin is to continue rising. Super trend currently invalidates at 34. It's currently on the way up, so that's subject to change. Support levels, meaning that we would lose our uptrend temporarily, I would say, because this uptrend is just very, very sharp due to the fact that oil volume, the fact that you can trade crude oil over the weekend 24/7 on Hyperliquid exchange. Yeah, that's what generates the money. So their buybacks, token burning, etc. helps the Hyperliquid token rise. We saw the same thing happen over here when it was gold and silver. If you check the dates in January 26, 27, you'll notice that the gold and silver narrative were peaking at all-time highs. Is that correct? Let me fact check myself. When did we hit all-time high for gold and silver? Please be January 27. January 28. That's good enough. You see what I mean? Yeah. And we're currently seeing this kind of move thanks to the spike in trading volume of oil because of what's happening in the Middle East with the war. Okay, great. Current price is 37, 31, 32. That's okay. But if we do like break whatever uptrend, do not panic. This is just normal correction because of the fact that Hyperliquid is way too overpurchased. So it's just, you know, if we do correct, it's going to look something like this at 32. Worst case, we hit 30. And that should flip our trend against us like this as we kind of come down on a downtrend line, which would ultimately look like this. Until, you know, we find our bottom, whether that's at 32 or 30, with 30 being the worst case scenario, I feel like we could absolutely start rising once again after we make a breakout from this level. Downtrend line gets broken and we follow this uptrend line in our favor once again, and we start rising back up as normal. That could be the case for Hyperliquid. Or, you know, like I said, 44 ultra bull case, especially if Bitcoin continues doing what it's doing and hits 80,000. Absolutely possible for Hyperliquid. Very bullish. Chainlink breaking out toward the upside. Finally, I'm getting rid of this downtrend line. And so is Hedera? No, I'll check Hedera in a moment. Support level for Chainlink is 879, 880 basically. Resistance, 988 or $10. I think my $10 prediction from weeks ago kind of makes sense at this moment. Target, for Chainlink of this week. Bitcoin 80,000. I think BingX doesn't like me doing this because they deleted my Monero one. But okay, that's what I expect for Chainlink. We'll see if it plays out. And I do expect it to happen. Sui. Staying above $1, kind of, barely. 99 cents, $1, about there. What I really want to see is super trend, you know, kind of like reach this kind of move while Sui starts making larger moves on its own as well. It is supposed to be a volatile token, yet the volatility is not volatiling, so we just must wait for it to do its thing. Now, I've given the target of 130 for Sui. Can that happen this week? It could. Is it likely? Probably not. And none of these pivot resistance levels kind of coincide with that 130 level. The reason I'm saying 130 is because that's just served as a support level multiple times in the past. Look how perfect it was. 130, 130, 130. And ultimately this time it failed, which now should become a resistance for the first time. At least once. Wouldn't you agree? And what about a time when Sui just goes parabolic on a good FOMC day? Not saying that it will, but it might. And then we ultimately just slow down over here because, you know, overbought. Could happen. I don't know. And I feel like Sui is also just underperforming, similar to what we're seeing with Solana. But anyway, that's just speculation, I guess, for now. Normal case, you could see Sui rise to $1.09, $1.16, and then $1.26. We might get lucky if we see 116 at least, you know. At least 116. That's my expectation for Sui, but I do obviously want it to hit that important level at 130, since it's been important in the past. Hedera, yeah, I think this was indeed a fake out, as predicted, because of this uptrend, super trend line, just flatting out for basically a month. Yeah, I overall think the move is toward the upside. What if all we got to do is just adjust that? I hate the fact that I'm readjusting these triangles every day, is what it seems like. But if we're expecting Bitcoin to rise, Hedera should rise as well. This is just a temporary fake out, and you'll see super trend kind of flip over like this in our favor while Hedera makes its good moves upward. I don't know how high, so don't expect too much from it. I don't really like Hedera. I want my Monero back, please. Why has it abandoned me? Literally, it's just gone. No warning. Monero gone. Cringe. Do I have it in standard futures? I doubt it. This is a terrible layout. They still haven't fixed it. BingX, get on it, please. I don't have any money here. I have like some positions that are dead. What was looking for? XMR. Yeah, it doesn't exist here. And Litecoin. Litecoin doesn't exist here either. Why? Alright. Weird. That's all for our crypto analysis. Spent plenty of time on it for once. I don't know. Like, the past couple of days I haven't been spending too much time, I feel like, but that's because literally the price has not been moving too much. Yeah, they've been moving toward the upside overall, but, I mean, we were really waiting for these pivot levels to come out. So this is the important week. We'll see how it goes. All right. Okay, let's get into the news. Iranian war. Main events by end of March 15. What has been going on? This is the 16th day of the war that has unfolded amid ongoing strikes on Iran, Israel, Lebanon, Iraq, and U.S. facilities in the Persian Gulf countries. Simultaneously, tensions persist around the Strait of Hormuz, while in Washington they continue preparing the ground for further escalation. Ooh, I thought that said something else. Preparing for a ground escalation, ground invasion. Don't do that. It might have to happen. But anyways, a bit of a summary about what has been going on if you've been living under Iraq, get it? In Iran, the coalition continued mass strikes on major cities and military infrastructure. Isfahan bears the brunt, with the local airport remaining the primary target. Simultaneously, Iranians announced the use of new ballistic missiles, Sadjil. Okay, Sadjil. In Israel, during recent launches, missiles and their submunitions struck several points in the Ramat Gan area, damaging homes and urban infrastructure, with casualties reported. Against this backdrop, media discussions intensified about possible depletion of air defense stockpiles, though Israeli officials deny this. Of course, why would they admit they're losing? That's dumb. In southern Lebanon, Israelis attempted overnight to expand their control zone in the Qiyam area. Judging by the lack of notable reaction from Hezbollah, the IDF encountered no serious resistance there. In parallel, France promotes a negotiation scheme between Israel and Lebanon, linking it to Hezbollah's disarmament. We'll talk about France in a moment, but the ground invasion in Lebanon seems to be real. Israel is about to call up to 450,000 reserve soldiers for a large ground offensive against Hezbollah in the southern Lebanon. It's possible that the Israelis will push all the way up to the Litani River to clear the area of terrorists, the Hezbollahs. Okay. In Iraq, Iranian formations again struck the Victoria base as well as facilities in Erbil and the Lanaz refinery. In Bahrain, new confirmations emerged of a successful combined strike on Sheikh Issa Air Base. Amid ongoing attacks on the region's oil infrastructure, the question of forced suspension of production grows louder. The situation in the Strait of Hormuz remains unchanged. Safe passage is possible only with Iranian approval because they said that they would allow everyone to pass except for Israeli or US ships. People are still scared to pass by because they're seeing videos, possibly fake videos, which we'll get into, the AI, about ships just getting completely exploded, right? And the fact that Iran is placing mines and suicide boats, all that stuff. But Trump is trying to fix that. We'll talk about that in more detail in a sec. In Tehran, officials confirmed that some Indian vessels passed with Iranian coordination. And every Chinese vessel is free to pass, by the way. Against this backdrop, Washington attempts to draw external players into an operation to unblock the strait. Yesterday, we saw that Trump called on China, Japan, South Korea, France, and Great Britain to send their ships to the strait. However, allies' reaction remains cautious. Seoul, for instance, in Korea, well, remembers the 2020 experience. I don't know what happened back then. I wasn't alive back then. In parallel, an amphibious group led by USS Tripoli is already moving to the region, further increasing the likelihood of preparations for a ground operation. No. On the southern flank, the Yemeni factor persists, the Houthis as well. The West again discussed the possibility that Houthis may charge fees for safe passage through the Red Sea. Of course, capitalize on the whole issue. Why not? Related storylines continue to multiply. In Tehran, rumors circulate about the whereabouts of Mojtaba Khamenei. We haven't seen the guy. While in Israel, they're increasingly study Ukrainian experience in combating drones. Of course, Zelensky is happy about this, I guess. Simultaneously, Gaza Strip has completely faded into the background. I know, right? Nobody talks about that. Though Israeli strikes on the enclave continue. Oh, really? Well, that's a little update as to what's been going on. Hey, if you're a climate activist, you probably want the war to end because US and Israeli strikes on Iran are releasing toxic pollutants that will poison the environment for decades. Oh no. Yeah, get something done, I guess. If not for my portfolio, do it for the environment. What Iran conflict exposes about the US Navy? There are vulnerabilities. According to the expert, a military analyst, Vadim Kozyulin, he says that Iran has shown it can challenge powerful and costly naval assets with large numbers of cheap UAVs and experienced drone operators. Just 2 or 3 inexpensive drones could potentially threaten high-value targets, which we did cover the cost of all of those targets getting hit by Iranian drones yesterday. While the loss of something like an aircraft carrier would cause massive reputational damage for Washington, which that hasn't happened yet. The guy adds that the US may try to bring other countries' ships into the region to share risks. We're talking about France and UK and others. But notes that the conflict with Iran has limited support even among Western allies, making coalition building difficult. I mean, yeah, after Trump has trashed all those countries, oh, you guys are nothing without the United States of America. NATO is nothing without us. And we don't need your help, okay? Oh, you guys don't want to help us join the war? We don't need it anyway. We're just going to single-handedly wipe out Iran because what are they going to do about it? Literally nothing. They can't do anything about it. They can just sit there. We can bomb their little island, the Karg Island, and they can do nothing about it. I could bomb it in 5 minutes, says Trump. What else has been going on? Iranians aren't rising up like you asked. What's up with that? Says a reporter. Which is true. I mean, we toppled the big guy, Ayatollah Khamenei. Why aren't the people rising up to take control of their government? Where are the Kurds? They're running away. They ran. President Trump says, well, they put out statements that if you protest, you will be shot and killed, and the protesters have no guns. So who was originally doing the protests with the guns? Trump says it is very hard for them to protest, and I fully understand it. They killed 32,000 protesters at least. We think the number is much higher than that. Who were greatly enthusiastic and wanted to see a change. Think of it. Shot and killed much more than 32,000. Now they put out a notice that we're going to shoot and kill any protester. And protesters don't have guns. That's why... I can carefully understand why they are not doing it. I can fully understand. What am I reading? That's the excuse why the people haven't taken over the government yet, because they don't have guns. We gotta give them a Second Amendment right. Sirens wailing across Bahrain. Yeah, we kind of knew that. Okay. A record 135 countries sided with the Gulf Arab states at the United Nations to condemn Iran over its attack on civilians. Even Russia and China reportedly didn't rush to defend Tehran this time. Impressive. The US is now seeking allies to help police the Strait of Hormuz. Trump says that we're talking to other countries about working with us on the policing of the strait. And I think we're going to get a good response, Trump said. He added that the U.S. Navy and its partners could help the waterway open, saying it would be interesting to see what country wouldn't help us with a very small endeavor, which is just keeping the strait open. He also posted this. I think we covered this yesterday. We covered this many days ago, that if Iran does anything to stop the flow of oil, they will be hit 20 times harder than they have been thus far. Yeah, we talked about this post way before. So, who is Trump reaching out to? Well, it's NATO. The NATO allies. Trump warns them, hey, there's going to be a very bad future if you abandon America's plans to open and secure the Strait of Hormuz. Because ultimately, NATO does get impacted by all this, but not militarily. They get impacted with the cost of energy, because they heavily rely on importing energy. They're the biggest buyers of natural gas, for example. And maybe oil, I don't know. But yeah. Like, that's a big issue, right? Trump could announce a coalition of countries escorting tankers this week. In fact, or it's a fact, NATO is not NATO without America. Europe could reportedly assist because they have a large number of minesweepers that can counter Iran effectively. That's great. NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte recently nailed it. If anyone thinks here that the European Union or Europe can defend itself without the US, keep on dreaming. You can't. We can't. Europe, if you really want to go it alone, what? And those of you who are planning for that, forget that you can ever get there with 5% GDP defense spending. It will be 10%. You'll have to build up your own nuclear capability, which is true. That costs billions and billions of euros. You will lose them. In that scenario, you would lose the ultimate guarantor of our freedom, which is the US nuclear umbrella. So hey, good luck. Trump's basically saying, yeah, you guys need us, so come help us, please. After saying that we don't need your help. Trump is also warning NATO to help secure, Strait of Hormuz, confirms what this war has always been about. Not regime change, not nuclear weapons, energy control. And Europe can either help open the Strait of Hormuz or watch their economies collapse, literally. And we talked about German Chancellor Merz before. Trump made it clear to him that Ukraine conflict developing in Russia is developing in Russia's favor. Russia is strong, Ukraine is weak. Trump also brushed off attempts to increase pressure on Putin. He's too busy worrying about the Middle East. Emmanuel Macron, president of France, spoke with the Iranian president, Masoud Pezeshkian. He called on him to put an immediate end to the unacceptable attacks Iran is carrying out against countries in the region, whether directly or through proxies, which includes Lebanon and Iraq. I reminded him that France is acting within a strictly defensive framework aimed at protecting its interests, its regional partners, and the freedom of navigation, and that it is unacceptable for a country to be targeted, which is true. Some of their bases were attacked. And your oil, and your exports, your imports. The unchecked escalation we are witnessing is plunging the entire region into chaos, with major consequences today and for the years to come. The people of Iran, like those across the region, are paying the price. Only a new political and security framework can ensure peace and security for all. Such a framework must guarantee that Iran never acquires nuclear weapons, while also addressing the threats posed by its ballistic missile program and its destabilizing activities regionally and internationally. Freedom of navigation in the Strait of Hormuz must be restored as soon as possible, so do something about it. I also urge the Iranian president to allow Cécile Kohler and Jacques Paris to return safely to France as soon as possible. Whom are these people? Did they get captured? Their ordeal has gone on for far too long, and they belong with their loved ones. Yeah, release my brethren. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer discusses ways to reopen the Strait of Hormuz with President Trump. So it seems like he's open to it, and also to sending the ships, right? Warships. But he's already getting some threats from Iran, saying that they will give you military action if you send your warships to the Strait of Hormuz. Okay, so what do? Who are they really more scared of? The United States or Iran? I bet they're still going to be scared of Iran. I don't know. They do have a lot to lose. They got a lot of Muslims in the country that, hey man, if they're pro-IRGC, they might start doing some terrorist attacks. Hey, I'm not being extremist here. We've seen this already happen in the United States, and here in Canada too. They're attacking the U.S. Embassy in Canada, and synagogues in Canada, and also in the United States. You know, we're just gonna start seeing it all over the place, and UK is a hot spot for this because there's a lot of them over there. Oh yeah, this is the post. The UK, once our greatest ally, they're finally giving serious thought to sending 2 aircraft carriers to the Middle East. That's okay. We don't need any of them. But remember, we don't need people that join wars after we've already won. He posted that before. And now we're just asking them for help. Literally this. Thank you. Thank you for posting the reference post. Okay, so we'll see what happens, I guess, with the UK. Ukraine is a separate issue. Trump says that the countries that get the oil should keep the Strait of Hormuz open, not the US. Also, this is true. Like, yeah, I know we're in this war or something like that, but hey, if you guys want to get your oil reaching your countries, we don't need that oil, by the way, but if you guys want to, you know, get your oil back to normal, you know, start helping us in the Strait of Hormuz and you'll have your oil, right? It's in everyone's interest. We will help them. We will help you guys. They get all the oil. We don't get anything from the Strait, so they should participate. That way we drag the whole world into this conflict because of the Strait of Hormuz. Wow, who knew such a geographical location would be such an important military target, place, interest. Trump calls on the Arabs to fight for Israel and take back the Strait of Hormuz as well. We're calling on the neighboring countries to take back the Strait of Hormuz from Iran, and said that the United States will help. And moving on from that, AI. We've talked about AI yesterday. We're going to talk about it more today because it seems like it's just getting out of hand now. Trump just caught Iran red-handed using AI generation to surge support for Khamenei. They showed 250,000 people in a square saying how much they love Khamenei. Totally AI generated, says Trump. It never took place. The media knew, but they built it up like they have great support. They don't have great support. That rally they had, it was all fake. It was AI generated. Yeah, who knows? Maybe we get another video of Mujtaba Khamenei coming out and being like, "Hi guys, I'm alive. I survived the airstrike and I attack you all now." And then, you know, I don't know. We'll see him with 6 fingers or something. We're also thinking that, you know, Benjamin Netanyahu has been killed in an airstrike because we haven't seen the guy ever since one of the recent bombings in Israel. And Iran state media claims that they've carried out a successful attack. And we don't see Benjamin Netanyahu. We do see him coming out. We see some of his press coming out as well, saying, "Oh no, he's totally alive. He's okay." And then a potentially AI-generated video also coming out, which we'll talk about soon. But first I want to read this post from Trump, because we're not talking about the Iran AI. The Iran AI, it gets pretty crazy too. Like, they're showing all their tunnels, showing off their missiles. A lot of it is AI-generated. And here's a 401-word Bible written by Trump. Let's read it. Iran has long been known as a master of media manipulation and public relations. They are militarily ineffective and weak, but we are really good at feeding the very appreciative fake news media false information. Now, AI has become another disinformation weapon that Iran uses quite well, considering they are being annihilated by the day. They showed phony kamikaze boats shooting at various ships at sea, which looks wonderful, powerful, and vicious. But these boats don't exist. It's all false information to show how tough their already defeated military is. The 5 U.S. refueling planes that were supposedly struck down and badly damaged, according to Wall Street Journal's false reporting, and others, all of them are in service, with the exception of one, which will soon be flying in the skies. We talked about that one before. Buildings and ships that are shown to be on fire are not. It's fake news. It's AI generated. Here's an example of one of them, by the way. Iran manipulating media with AI phony footage of kamikaze boats. Here's one of the footage of the ships under fire at sea. It looks wonderful, but they don't exist. Iran is being decimated. Only when in AI. Radical left-wing press pushing false stories. Yeah, back to the post. Where was I? For instance, Iran, working in close coordination with the fake news media, shows our great USS Abraham Lincoln aircraft carrier, one of the largest, most prestigious ships in the world, burning uncontrollably in the ocean. Not only was it not burning, it was not even shot at. Iran knows better than to do that. The story was knowingly fake, and in a certain way you can say that those media outlets that generated it should be brought up on charges for treason for the dissemination of false information. The fact is, Iran is being decimated, and the only battles they win are those that they create through AI and are distributed by corrupt media outlets. The radical left-wing press knows this full well, but continues to go forward with false stories and lies. That's why their approval rating is so low. So is yours, Trump. But anyway. And I can win a presidential election in a landslide, getting only 5% positive press. I mean, okay, yeah, that's fair enough, I guess. Let's see him win the midterms, I guess. They have no credibility. I'm so thrilled to see Brendan Carr, chairman of the Federal Communications Commission, FCC, looking at the licenses of some of these corrupt and highly unpatriotic news organizations. They get billions of dollars of free American airwaves and use it to perpetuate lies, both in news and almost all of their shows, including the late-night morons who get gigantic salaries for horrible ratings and never get, as I used to say in The Apprentice, fired. Thank you for your attention to this matter. All right. I love this. That's so funny. Okay, moving on. Yeah, so that has been going on. And on the other side of the Middle East, Israel, Netanyahu posting a proof of life video. People said that it was AI because he had 6 fingers. I see 4 and the thumb, that's 5. He posted another one ordering coffee, the coffee video we'll talk about, and it shows the 5 fingers. People said that that was also AI because the coffee didn't spill. We'll go into that in more detail. We've crossed a line that we can't uncross. The same AI tools that can generate a convincing fake of anyone on Earth have made it impossible to prove anything is real. The technology that was supposed to give us more information has made all information less trustworthy. This isn't about Netanyahu. Every world leader, every CEO, every public figure now lives in a world where that's AI is an unfalsifiable response to any evidence. Yeah. Best way to get out of anything. Oh, literally, look at that. Proof of life now requires multiple videos, press witnesses, and cafe Instagram posts. People still don't believe it. We've built tools so powerful that seeing is no longer believing. Nobody has figured out what replaces it. Yeah, what is this? All for shop 1459 1103 2024. Is that what that says? 0.00. Is this even real Hebrew letters? Yeah, this does seem pretty AI, dude. And the fact that, like, literally they replaced Netanyahu with Elvis Presley and it looks authentic just goes to show that anything can be AI. So here's the video. After Benjamin Netanyahu posted a video showing he is not dead yet, people are now speculating about why his coffee cup, which was filled to the brim, it didn't spill when he lifted it, is now being called the Coffee Gate. I guess we can, like, look at that. How is it not spilling? He's literally tilting the cup forward, and it's not spilling. People are like, dude, this is just clearly AI. How is that not spilling? Is that surface tension at its finest in coffee? Anyways, so there's, yeah, people are just saying he's obviously dead. Like, there's no... And also the pocket, people are saying, okay, show me the pocket, I guess. The pocket physics are strange. The pocket literally morphs into his hand, instead of his hand being pushed inside the... You see that? Like, hold on. Yeah. That's not pocket behavior. The pocket does not go into your hand. Your hand goes into the pocket. Last I checked. And if that's real, then show me the... And here's the original video if you do care. The coffee physics are crazy too because the surface tension would easily be broken by a claw grip on a cup that is full. He's like, look guys, here's my five finger, okay? And then I drink coffee. I believe it's a real video, digitally altered to appear current with the slop I'm dying for coffee line. And apparently they're saying it's like a recreation of an old video that already happened before. How did the camera take the shot while being in the middle of the shot? Was this woman even there? What else are people saying? Okay. Yeah. Alright. That's just other stuff that's been going on. More. Oil rose after United States strikes on Iran's Karg Island escalated the conflict, with Brent crude trading near $105 a barrel after surging more than 40% in the past 2 weeks. The International Energy Agency said the war has caused the largest oil supply disruption in history, as shipping through the Strait of Hormuz remains near a standstill. That's why, oh yeah, China and Russia are moving just fine. It's just for Western ships, I guess. That's why Trump is calling on those Western countries and the other Middle Eastern countries to help open the Strait of Hormuz, after saying we don't need any help. Oil is now above $100 a barrel, while Washington whispers about stepping into the futures market to force prices back down. Right, so we're in damage control mode, by the way. At the beginning of this weekend, after markets closed, Trump decides to carry out the attack on Karg Island, which we covered. And now, as the markets are reopening, Trump is trying to do the damage control part of it, which is, hey guys, Western countries, you guys need the oil, right? Come help me save it, and we can all work together to end the war and lower the prices of oil. But the war will go on however long it has to, by the way. But yeah, I can end the war like tomorrow if I really wanted to. That's Trump's response to all of it. The damage control. At the same time, Iran is floating the idea of allowing tankers to pass through the Strait of Hormuz if oil is traded in Chinese yuan, the de-dollarization, and the petrodollar. Here. That's not just a war headline, that's the plumbing of the global monetary system shifting in real time, specifically the petrodollar. Weakens the US dollar. If the US dollar gets weaker, the Bitcoin goes stronger, right? Think about this. 20% of the world's oil passes through the Strait of Hormuz. Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Kuwait, United Arab Emirates must pass through that narrow channel to reach global markets. The moment people realize this isn't just another flare-up in the Middle East, but a bigger change in how energy, money, and power transact across the world, they'll understand we're living through one of those rare moments that, depending on the outcome, can change history. All right. US futures opened lower as oil breaks above $100 after reports of a strike on Iran's Karg Island, which we talked about. Crypto is staying relatively strong, with Bitcoin above 71,500, Solana near $90. Old news, we're far above that now. U.S. Energy Secretary says that Iran conflict will end in the next few weeks. Hooray, we're hearing that every week. After that, oil supply will go up and energy prices will dump, which that should help stabilize the markets. At least the regulated ones. I've not looked at S&P 500 open. What do we got? More drop. Let's go. I mean, is this a rise? I mean, technically it is. We didn't really drop, but we're still down overall. Small recovery, 0.67%, and apparently that's a lot in an index like this. Alright. Giga bullish week for crypto. Gold and silver losing $2.4 trillion. US stocks losing $2 trillion, but crypto adding $200 billion. Is this money rotation at its finest? Crypto just had a massive green week, while gold, silver, and global stocks wiped out trillions due to the US-Iran war. How is that the case that gold and silver are also losing money in these markets? How are you that bad? Yeah, they are losing. They are indeed losing in recent times. At the beginning, it was like, yeah, they're rising too. Everything is also rising. Not anymore. Bitcoin up 11%, reaching 73K. Ethereum up 13%, reaching 2.2K. Ethereum has also just printed its first green weekly candle after 7 consecutive red weeks. Grok, is this real? Wait a minute. Why is Fetch here? Hello? What is this? What is this? I did not put that here. Blasphemer. Okay, sorry. Back to Ethereum. Jeez, what was the point of that? Yeah, that is true. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 red weeks of Ethereum. First green week, and it looks like this second week might also be green. That's bullish, right? Should be. Total crypto market cap has added over $210 billion this week. It's crazy how everything else is dumping due to fear, yet the riskiest and most volatile asset, like Bitcoin, is up 16% since the war has started. I think we're seeing something that everybody else doesn't see, is that with Ayatollah Khamenei killed, we won the war. And that other Khamenei guy, the son, he's not going to do much. Probably going to die as well. So we kind of just see this as, you know, we're so back, I guess. When did the war start? Was it here? I think it was this. Bitcoin crashes 3%. We relax for a moment of uncertainty, and then we realize, oh, Khamenei dead. We rise. I think it was here. It might have been... I think it was this one, yeah. Something like that. Good, overall. Bitcoin may have already seen the lows, says a veteran investor, Mark Yusko, thinks the worst of the Bitcoin selling may already be behind us. I kind of agree, because we have been a little too oversold, too much for my liking. His reasoning is simple. When assets trade below fair value, investors start buying, and that's their job. Yusko estimates Bitcoin's fair value is somewhere in the $80,000 range, while Bitcoin recently traded closer to $70,000. Thank you. Thank you for agreeing with my analysis. 80,000 soon. Hey, I hope that's the case. If the fair value of Bitcoin is at 80,000, hey, with more reason we can just rise up there, no problem this week. So what happens at this phase? Long-term investors start nibbling and accumulating, which slowly stabilizes the market. Then the traders come back, momentum builds, and eventually the cycle moves into the next phase. The next phase will be toward the downside. because we're still in a bear market, whether you like it or not. According to Yusko, we're likely near the end of the deleveraging phase of this cycle, and the market may already be close to the lows. I feel like we still got some lows in us. I mean, ultimately, we have just been lateralizing this whole time. But this time we can get like an appropriate breakout going on because we have the uptrend in our favor. So I feel like it is possible. Remember Aave? Remember the $1 million loss that a trader had because of crazy spreads or something like that? $50 million swap incident. They released their post-mortem announcing Aave Shield, a feature that will automatically block swaps with over 25% price impact to avoid idiots losing their $50 million every time. So there's some closure on that case, I guess. Hey, AIXBT agent. If you had $1,000 to invest in an altcoin, what will you invest in? They split it 500 into BitTensor, 300 into Monad, and 200 into Pixels. I've never heard of Pixels. I have heard of Monad. Why Monad? And BitTensor, I mean, isn't it too late to be investing in that? You should have invested when I told you at 200. No, you should not. You should not take anything I say as financial advice. But ultimately, like, this breakout at the beginning was very good overall. And the uptrend did maintain itself for BitTensor, so... Buying now, though, interesting. I think you're just FOMOing at this point. It's breaking levels, ETF filing, and actual AI utility shipping. I do agree with that portion of it, sure. Now for Monad, they say that the TVL is at all-time high 3 days running. Ledger integration just hit. Monad is like a layer 1... Another layer 1 blockchain, right? That's what I played it off as last time I covered Monad. Wherever it is, if it even is in this top 100 list. I'm gonna have to search it because I really do not follow Monad at all. What are all those other tokens I saw down there? What? Mon. It's number 123. Oh boy. I mean, does it mean it has great growth potential? Yeah, probably. Token supply. Where tokenomics? Max supply. Okay, 100 billion. Currently it's circulating is 10 billion, so this can be 10x inflationary. No good. But I'm assuming that's going to take a long time for that to be released either way, that to the point where we're not going to feel it. Okay, this is the all-time chart, though. I remember these kind of moves, yes, when it came out last year, November. Ultimately died down around here, but it seems like it's on its way back up. Year-to-date chart. Okay, I guess it's not fair to compare it in a year. It hasn't even been out for a year. But it looks like we're on our way at least to the top. This looks like it's in a range and it's just going to go lower. Sorry, I don't like it. Pixels, what even is this? Number 459. All right, pal. Oh, what is that? That's in a month. Yearly chart looks like that. Looks like a dead cat bounce. The all-time chart, when in doubt, zoom out. Yeah, that's not going to do much, is it? 30% move on app launch hype. So that's the big move that we saw over here, not that one. Get this out of here. This is the 30% move, I guess. Sure. Or it says 108%. Sure. Gaming narratives pump fast. Hey, if you really want some good gaming project, I would not suggest Sui. Right? Because Sui is for gaming. And so is Avalanche, I think. Categories. Show me the gaming categories. I've not been following it at all, so I might just be completely wrong. Here's gaming. It's Render, Virtual, Stacks, Immutable, Floki, Axie Infinity. Really? Sui is not on this list? Or Avalanche? I swear they were going to do something with gaming. Like, wasn't there this whole Pokemon thing with Sui? And then Avalanche, they were like releasing some other Battle Royale game or some Starship game. I think it was on Avalanche. Might just be its own thing. Sandbox is like a metaverse thing. Axie Infinity is some trash game that some boomers played and make money on, and then it died. Decentraland also kind of metaverse play. Multiverse X, I assume, is also metaverse. All of that stuff is dead. No one cares about Metaverse. Superverse. ApeCoin. Why is ApeCoin here? This is supposed to be an NFT. I'm assuming they just made a game out of it too. Notcoin, yeah, that does make sense. Why isn't Toncoin here then? Alright. Because of the hamster game, whatever it was, on Not. Does it even exist anymore, the hamster token? Hamster Combat, I think it was what it was. Something dumb like that. And then what is even the rest of... Oh, it's literally right here. Hamster Combat. Yes, I'm not crazy. Thank you. Yeah, but Ton should be here too then. And then the rest of these is just literally, what even are they? What even are they? And isn't this pixels? What number was it? 500 something? Pixels. Here it is. Yeah, so it is also a part of gaming then. Number 460. Most visited this week is Render and Pixel. Render, I think, is due to AI. Also, why is Render in gaming? I never heard of that. And Stacks as well in gaming? I also never heard of that. Loki in gaming? This is just supposed to be a meme coin. What? I'm confused. What is even considered gaming anymore? I'm just uneducated in the topic, honestly. I have not looked into it at all. Low interest. Do not care too much. Alright. And that is all for tonight's stream. What to look forward to next week? Mainly Wednesday. And Wednesday we will have a great stream. So get ready for it. Canada inflation rate. Oh, I can't wait to see that skyrocket. Should it skyrocket? I don't know. I think Canadian inflation is starting to get under control. Maybe a little bit because of how out of control it already was. Lesser of two evils. Wednesday's the biggest day. We're getting PPI data. Bank of Canada's interest rate decision. We're also getting the Federal Open Market Committee. Fed interest rate decision of the United States. The press conference and the projections. Very important. We're also getting interest rate project. I just talked about that. We're also getting the PPI data. That's the other important one. Do we get anything from Bank of Japan? I've also not looked at that in a while. Japan. Balance of trade, that's not it. Bank of Japan interest rate decision. It's also happening on Wednesday night. 11 p.m. I guess that should also be important. What are we expecting? We're expecting to maintain rates. So nothing is going to happen, really. If we rise these rates of the Bank of Japan, that's going to be bearish. If we cut them, that's bullish because it means, you know, carry trade, yen, free money, easy. Like, we could just borrow yens at this rate, use that free money, basically free money, because they even had it, like, at a negative rate or at a 0% rate in the past. And you would use that free money to just buy stocks and and just rise equities, right? Until they started increasing this and people were like, oh, now it's not a good idea to get free money to invest anymore. Because who else gives you this kind of a interest rate, right? Based Japan. Can I check the summary, I guess? Come on, give me the 10-year. I mean, yeah, this shows it more than enough. Negative 0.1%. They would literally pay you to borrow their money. Like, what bank does that? The Bank of Japan, ladies and gentlemen. Until they started rising it in 2024. Which people are like, well, anyway, I guess this is fine. It's still a low rate. And then it rose it to 0.25%, and people are like, oh, this is really bad. And then they rose it to 0.50%. It was like, oh, it's even worse. And the recent rise that we just had on, it was December? It was not December. I guess it was December. Yeah, it was December last year. We covered that one live too. When Solana, like, liquidated me, or almost liquidated me at 116. Imagine Solana at 116. We're literally seeing Solana at 91. And that was like a worst case scenario for Solana. It was one of these drops. Yeah, literally this one right here. 116. I remember this one. That was due to Bank of Japan fears. Because they were rising the rates. And we're like, no, we can't borrow cheap money anymore. Sell everything. Oh no. Relax, pal. It's still cheap. 0.75%, that's still cheap. You're getting their inflation metrics next week, Monday. Who cares about that? And yeah, rest of the month should be pretty relaxed, honestly. Biggest day is going to be Wednesday. Really big. I will be live streaming all that. Okay. It's also St. Patrick's Day on Tuesday. I wonder if I have the day off at work. Whoops, I slapped my phone. I don't know, I have to ask my manager, I guess. Imagine if like tomorrow the day is the day that we take off. I don't know, do banks work on St. Patrick's Day? Let me hold on. Do banks open on St. Patrick's Day? I don't even know what St. Patrick Day is. Yes, banks are generally open, so that means that my job is going to be open as well. I still have to work on Tuesday. Awesome. Why can't we just take the day off? But okay. Wednesday, biggest day. Prepare. That's all for tonight's stream, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, subscribe. I will see you tomorrow then. Yeah. Have a great rest of your evening. Bye.